4 things I learned about friendships by 2024. I feel like there's a trend on YouTube right now where you see a lot of people giving advice, and I figured why not step into that. I'm someone who has been through a lot with different friendships since I was like a child, and I feel like I generally give pretty good advice just based off of my lived experiences. So let me grab my iPad. So the first thing I learned by 2024 was that a nice friend for you now is not always a nice friend for you later. I experienced a friendship where we were friends for 4 years, and it was a perfectly good friendship. In the end, they ended up being a toxic friend because they were no longer being nice to me. Multiple times in my life, I've made friends with someone, and then over time, their true colors start to show. And it can take like more than a year. To be very naive, I used to take people at face value, so I had no clue that this was happening, and anything they did that was suspicious or like a yellow flag, I kind of just ignored because I was like, I'm gonna just take it at face value. That doesn't mean anything. And so it was hard for me to believe that I could have a friend who was so nice to me, so part of my life, you know, part of my core group of people, end up being bitter and sour towards me and wanting to see me not really do well anymore. Now, granted, I think that it shouldn't be taken too personally because ultimately, I think it's a symptom of not being happy with oneself. I've never had a friend who was mean to me that was happy with themselves. They were usually in a place in their life where I think they kept comparing themselves to me and being frustrated by either my joy, the way I present, and just how I interact with life. And so in a sense, I feel bad for those friends because I never wanted to bring out jealousy from them. I never wanted to bring out feelings of inferiority. That is something they have to deal with. Put them on the chopping block, no matter how much they meant to me. You think that your slightly toxic friend won't affect you? They will. So I'm sad, but I've cut off plenty of friends in the past because they were either being controlling or jealous or bitter towards me. Of course, I tried talking to them about it before I ended the friendship, but usually when someone's in that space in their life, they can't just snap out of it right away. And that's what I needed them to do, like snap out of it, because I'm a sensitive soul and I cannot handle being hated on by my closest friends. It's a little bit emo, but your friends who are nice now are not always going to be your friends who are nice later. So my second piece of advice that I think everyone should understand about friendships is that the dynamic will change. The dynamic ebbs and flows, and the only way you're going to keep your friendships is if you allow it to ebb and flow naturally. People don't like it whenever you change. You ever gotten into a rhythm with a friend where it's just like y'all have like a way y'all speak to each other, the way y'all interact with each other, and it's just so harmonious and perfect, and you're in your like honeymoon era with this friend, and then slowly over time you notice things are different. They don't have as much time for you, or they don't text you as much, but they'll still call you. But what about texting? Or some of the bonding activities y'all used to do before, they're not interested in doing them anymore. Like, that's a dynamic change, you know? Or they go from being short distance to long distance, or long distance to short distance, and the way y'all communicate is just different than the way it was before. You need to not panic when this happens, because if anything, that's a sign of a good friendship. We all go through different things in life. Life is not easy on all of us at the same time, and life is not hard on all of us at the same time. And typically, the way we're behaving is based off on our life at that moment. And if you want to keep friends in your life, you have to accept that and be okay with the dynamic changing. What helped me be really okay was looking at my relationship with my family members. My mother, I love my mom, but our dynamic has changed a lot over the years. There's been phases where I wasn't talking to her that much. There's been phases where I called her every single day on the phone to talk about the menial things in my life. When it was my mother, I didn't think too hard about it. I just let it happen. Hey, if my mother's going to be a lifelong relationship that I have, then my friends need to also follow this pattern of just the dynamic changing depending on where you guys are at. And so my third piece of advice is to mourn the change in dynamic while simultaneously accepting it. Don't think you can ignore the dynamic change or pretend like it doesn't hurt you. One of my friends, we lived together for 6 months, and we were just like, we had such a harmony with each other where she was giving to me, I was giving to her. Then I moved out to go pursue a career change and also to live with my girlfriend. The dynamic had to change. We could no longer see each other in our home every day, share our meals, talk to each other while we use the bathroom. It was sad to have to change that, but I'm simultaneously accepting that is how life is. You can't try to hold on to life and make it stay solid and still, because life doesn't work that way. Sad about it, try not to take that out on your friend though. It is not their fault the dynamic is changing. Take the time to express to your friend that you do feel particularly sad about the dynamic change, but that you understand there's no taking it back to where it was. Maybe one day the dynamic will look similar again, maybe not. Expressing that versus holding it in and building some weird form of resentment against your friend because the dynamic changed is way healthier. My fourth piece of advice is to ask your friend questions and do not shy away from them if you want to be close to them. This is a piece of advice that I personally don't need. My whole life, I've always been one to interrogate my friends about what they're thinking, feeling, and believing. And so it's very natural to me, but I've noticed a pattern amongst other people, the common person, is that they don't ask their friends questions. The friend is obviously going through something and they don't want to get into the details. If you don't get into the details of what's going on in these relationships in your life, you're never going to feel actually close to people. And that's going to feel sad over time. You're not going to have the bond that you see other people have. And when people have a close bond, it's because they've gotten deep with each other and talked about things that hurt or matter a lot and make them very joyful. And I've just watched people be friends and not take it to that level. And to me, it's just very odd. How can you call someone your best friend? Or why would you call someone your best friend when you don't get them on a certain level, when you're not getting close to each other? For me, that's the joy of friendship. What's the point of being friends with someone if it's going to always stay surface level? Now, not every friend needs to be a super deep friend, but I think there should be a certain degree or moments of deepness you have with each friend that establishes that y'all can go there and that you care. They trust you more, you trust them more, you can tell them about your life and not feel judged. In my opinion, friendship is one of the most important relationships in your life because it is so common. It's one of the most common types of relationship. Someone could be your family and your friend at the same time. Someone could be a stranger then become a friend, or an acquaintance and become a friend. A supervisor, teacher, colleague can become a friend. So to me, that's the most important relationship. I hope these tips help you feel more satiated in your friendship. Maybe not all of them work for you, but I just know that these are the key fundamental reasons why I feel like I have fulfilling and good friendships with the people that I do. And I really hope I can spread that to others because friendship is so important. On one hand, friends can be a dime a dozen, but also it's really hard to find those high quality, high value friends that you know will stick by you long term. It takes a certain level of maturity and not everyone is there, but at least you can try to have some control over your situation by changing your actions and behaviors towards them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. And if you like advice videos, please let me know and I'll make some more. I'm still trying to figure out what type of video I want to do on YouTube on this platform. And I'm still trying to figure out what I'm good at talking about and what I want to talk about. And I think giving advice is secretly a hidden gem of mine because I'm very much an overthinker and all this overthinking has led to lots of them about my situations I've been through. So anyways, thank you for watching. See you soon.